everyone, my name is Shelby and this is the YouTube series where I reveal what's inside these mystery pottery molds I found on Gumtree. Hello and welcome to part 25, and I'm doing a mold with lots of holes again because this is the one I get the most requests about, so we're doing another one. Looking at the mold, it appears to say Cute Mushrooms made in 1991 by Donna's Molds. So if you recall, a couple of molds ago I also did another one with lots of holes, and it was also a Donna's Molds and had a cute little set of sunflower faces. So I'm really excited to see this one, and it's such a cute collection, so I'm hoping that this one's just as cute, even cuter, because they're mushrooms, like little blobby mushrooms. But also to the fact that there might be cool, like more cool little characters in the pile of molds, just like this one from Donna's Molds. So pouring it up, I spilt it everywhere because I was in my head going, oh, I need to pour it really quickly so that the footage is really nice and succinct. But then I totally blimped that I can actually edit it after I've filmed it to make it fast, so it's not like taking forever to pour every hole. But anyway, that's why I spilt it. So with those spills, I just used a little rubber kidney and scraped them off, and it was actually really satisfying. So now that it is all set, I can open it up to reveal the cutest little mushroom family. Look at them all on their own little, they're so cute. Like, they've got little button noses and all their faces are a little bit different. They're all sort of variation in sizes, and they're also all sort of leaning a different way. And I love the sets of 2 and 3 where they're sort of like leaning into each other. And I thought whilst I was sponging these down that this would be the perfect opportunity to do a Frankenstein mold. And by Frankenstein mold, I mean put 2 molds together. So I poured one of the mugs from, I think it was mold 14, and I decided I was going to cut the mushrooms in half, like on the tops, like through them, and add them onto the mugs and make mushroom mugs as well, because I don't know, I just was really excited, and I've wanted to combine 2 molds together for a really long time, but this is the first one where I was like, yeah, this is gonna work so well. So I cut them in half because I could use both sides. So one will be a mug with all the face sides of the mushroom, and then one will be a mug where it's just the mushrooms without the faces. So it worked really well for this piece. So the way I'm adding them is I've got my little wire brush. So the wire brush is a tool that you can buy, and it's got like lots of little wires so that it gets that coarse cross hatching motion. You don't have to manually cross hatch everywhere with a pin needle tool. You can just do a couple of strokes and it will give you a nice cross hatch. And then once I've applied that cross hatching motion to both pieces that I'm joining, I add some slip, which is awesome because I always have it readily available, and then slip on both sides, and then I sort of push it together and glue it. So the way the cross hatch and the slip works is it kind of melds and glues the pieces together. So with these pieces, I noticed, you can kind of see it a little bit when I was cutting, and here is that they were cracking a little bit. So the mushrooms were a little bit on the drier side, so what I did was patch them up with some coils and little bits of clay to make sure that they're all good. But I am very worried that they're going to crack post bisque wiring, so we'll just wait and see what the finished result is like for those. But I'm very, very excited that this is the first Frankenstein mold. So with all the pieces, I was going to do all these wild cool patterns on each mushroom, but time was not my friend again this week. So we're going in with some pastel colors, doing a few different colors in those tones, and then adding sort of like the white spots, like a you know, like the red and spotty mushroom style. I know it's got a name, but I can't say it out loud. So I'm not saying it. I know what the spelling is, but I can't say the word, so I'm not going to say it, but you know what I mean. So I'm not going to embarrass myself in that way by trying to pronounce what that type of mushroom is. Anyway, this is me painting for a little while. It was a whole lot of fun. Again, it was like a really relaxing mold, I'm gonna say. There have been some molds where I've been really overwhelmed because there's so much detail to add. So when I say relaxing, this one was just like a simplified version, so I didn't really have to think too hard about where I was going to place things. So it was a relaxing mold in that sense. But yeah, enjoy some footage of me painting, because it's pretty much most of this mold reveal. I add some details to little faces, but yeah, I'll come back in when it is time to glaze. Okay, it's not time to glaze yet, but again, watching it back and going, I should probably talk about this. I was watching myself paint and I realized I'm using this little ballpoint tool a lot, and I don't really talk about it a lot, but this tool is incredible. I love it. It's one of my favorites, aside from brushes and my usual pottery tools, is that this is a ball stylus tool. I see a lot of other potters use these, but I just wanted to recommend it because they are really wonderful for getting really small details in. I use it to sign all my pieces on the bottom. It's got a really lovely ballpoint so that you don't have all the burrs when you carve. So sometimes when you carve on pottery, you can get all these little burrs and little flyaway bits, but the ball stylus makes it a really smooth, crisp line. It also really helps when you're doing little dots and things like that to get them nice and round and symmetrical without having to like finick over them with a little fine brush. So you can see I do like my eyes with them on really small details. I do like spots. I add little white dots onto things. Like I really love this tool and I highly recommend it. The one that I have, I got yonks ago. Like I reckon I was 10 when I got it when I used to craft. It was in my craft kit. So I don't know where you can actually get one from. Probably most pottery shops have it. But I literally use it on everything. Every single piece has it. And the best part about mine is it is double-ended. So each end has a different size ball point. So I can use it for different size dots, different size things, different size carving as well. I don't really use carving much in my pottery. I'd like to do it because I think it's just a really fun way to add texture and depth, but I haven't really found where that sort of fits with my style yet, but I would love to do it. But yeah, I just wanted to recommend it because it's really cool and a really great tool that I use every single time. So yeah, that's me banging on about a tool. Okay, it's time to glaze, and I have never said this before, but glazing is the most nerve-wracking part of the pottery process for me because sometimes the glaze can just be a little witch. That is my polite way of saying a real annoying thing. Sometimes it can be too thick, and sometimes it can be too thin. Sometimes it can pinhole, sometimes it can react, sometimes it can craze. Like, it's really unpredictable of how it's going to come out. Like, it's pretty predictable now that I've had practice, but it always makes me nervous every single time. So the way I glaze is I pour the glaze into the center, and then I dip it, and then I sponge off all the excess and make sure that the base is free from glaze. With the little mushrooms, I had to sort of pinch them, and then once they dried, I touched up the bottoms where my fingers were and made sure that there was no glaze on the bottoms so that they don't stick to the kiln shelf. And look at the little field of mushrooms in there. So cute. And this is real time opening the kiln to see what's inside. I was really nervous because I thought they may have fallen over because they're so little and stuck to the kiln shelf. I'm also nervous about the cracking on the mugs. So let's have a look and unpack this kiln. I love them so much. They turned out amazing. Like, look at that little kiln shelf full of little mushrooms. Okay, so I'm gonna try and hold my excitement and unpack this kiln, and then we'll walk through all the different batches of colour and the 2 mugs and just have a good look at the finished result. Here is what they all look like together. They are fantastic. Every single colour came out so vibrant, so fun. The little white spots are so crisp and clean. All their little faces are totally adorable. I like the little contrast of the pink cheeks on the yellow mushrooms, actually. I thought that they came out really great. The purple didn't come out the normal colour it usually comes out, so I wonder whether that's because most of them were on the top shelf and that's sort of changed the colour of within the firing, because sometimes when you put things on the different shelves in the kiln it can come out a slightly different colour, but otherwise no complaints. I think that they're really gorgeous. Just a surprise that that purple didn't come out as vibrant as I thought it would. But the pastels are just so adorable, and looking at the size, they were quite small when I was painting them, but I decided to get a ruler out to measure them so that I could see what that smallest little dude at the front is, and the ruler does not lie. They are under 2 centimeters tall, which is totally adorable. I said 2 centimeters, I meant 3 centimeters tall, and just a little bit over 2 centimeters. So that's just so cute. I am really in love with these. I think that they would be perfect for a little fairy garden or to add to your little plants inside. There's so many, like, you could have just lots of clusters. And as for the mugs, they came out amazing as well. I absolutely love how the red and spotty mug came out. The thing that I was most nervous about was the cracking, and inspecting all of these, there were no cracks. So I'm so proud of myself and so impressed, because I really thought that these were going to be the ones that cracked. Underneath, because they were hollow when I cut them in half, I had to put little pinholes in the bottom so that the air could escape. That was just me being extra cautious to make sure nothing exploded. So that's just something that I had to do with that shape of the mushroom. Yeah, I'm really impressed. I really like these, and I like that they've got this really fairy garden feel, and I can definitely see myself drinking a hot chocolate out of this one. I think I'm underselling myself in my voice a lot. Like, I'm really impressed, like really impressed. The only thing that I would say I wish I did was maybe put a bit more detail into the background. I thought about doing it, I really did, and then I was crushed for time, so I decided to leave it off and just see what a simple with mushroom mug would look like with just the mushrooms on it, and see how they complemented each other. But I love them, and I think that it could be really cute with like a little background, so like Smurfy style with butterflies and some flowers behind them, and just having them as the statement, as the 3D part that sort of gives it this depth, like adjacent to the background. So I really like these. I think that they're going to be one of my favorites so far out of the mugs I've made. And yeah, again, this one I've showed the pinholes. One of the pinholes expanded a bit, so I fixed it up during the bisque stage so it didn't crack any further. But yeah, I really like them. I feel like I've been saying this a lot about all the molds, but these are just so quirky, so cute, so adorable. I I think I need a garden filled with lots of these molds, especially these mushrooms. Let me know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.